The boy couldn't have been more than 5. Curly blonde hair, tear-streaked cheeks, a tiny Spider-Man backpack dragging behind him on the polished airport floor. He ran straight into Michael's legs, clutching his hand before he could even ask for help. "I lost my mom," he said, voice trembling. Michael looked around. Crowds, chaos, no sign of a parent. He had no idea this one act of kindness was about to change his entire life forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. Michael Sanders had no business being in Terminal A. He wasn't going anywhere. No boarding pass, no fancy luggage, just a worn leather backpack, a tired 5-year-old daughter napping on his shoulder, and the grave look of a man who'd been waiting for a delayed rideshare for nearly 45 minutes. His flannel shirt was soaked from the Boston rain. His jeans had dried stiff from earlier, and his boots tapped softly against the gleaming floor as he tried to soothe his aching legs. Then, wham, a small body crashed into him. The boy looked up, eyes wild with panic. "I can't find my mom." Michael's instincts kicked in before he even thought. He gently took the boy's tiny hand, kneeling. Hey, it's okay, buddy. We'll find her. I promise." He scanned the bustling crowd. Dozens of people brushed past with carry-ons and coffee, earbuds in, eyes locked on screens. No one noticed the child. No one stopped. Michael looked down at the boy again. "What's your name?" "Eli." "All right, Eli. I'm Michael. You stay with me, okay?" His daughter stirred slightly in his arm, mumbling something in her sleep, still out cold from the long, rainy commute from preschool. And now here he was, comforting a stranger's kid while juggling his own. "Do you remember what your mom was wearing?" Michael asked. Eli nodded. "Blue dress. And she has a shiny phone." That narrowed it down to about 200 people. Michael flagged down an airline worker. "This little guy's lost his mom. Can you help?" The employee gave a rehearsed nod, but didn't move. "You'll need to report it at the service desk." "Can someone page her?" "Only through security clearance or gate personnel." Michael's jaw tightened. "He's 5. Are we really doing this?" The woman shrugged. "Sir rules." Eli's lip trembled again. Michael made a decision. "We're not waiting." He scooped Eli into his arm, one kid on each shoulder now, and marched past the Starbucks, past the Hudson News, past dozens of indifferent faces, heading toward the gate where the boy said they were supposed to meet. Then he saw her, a tall woman in a sleek royal blue dress, scanning the terminal with sheer panic on her face. Her hair was coiled up in a professional twist, designer heels clicking like gunshots on the floor. A man in a suit trailed behind her, trying to calm her down. "Eli!" she screamed the moment she spotted them. Eli leapt from Michael's arms and sprinted toward her. She dropped to her knees and wrapped her son in a crushing hug, tears spilling down her face. Michael watched from a few feet away, still cradling his daughter. He smiled, a little relieved, a little emotional. That's when she stood up and walked straight to him. "Oh, you're the one who found him." Michael nodded. "He found me, actually." She blinked, stunned. I don't even know what to say." "No need," he said, adjusting his daughter's weight in his arm. "I'm just glad he's safe." The suited man next to her, clearly her assistant, leaned in and whispered something. Her face shifted. She extended her hand. "I'm Charlotte Winslow." Michael blinked. The name clicked instantly. Charlotte Winslow. Winslow Holdings. Boston's youngest billionaire. Owner of the airport. "I'm Michael," he said, shaking her hand. "Michael Sanders." Charlotte looked at him for a moment longer than was necessary, like she was trying to figure something out. Then she glanced at his daughter. "She's beautiful." "Thanks," he said softly. "She's my whole world." Charlotte nodded, her voice quieter now. "I get that." And just before Michael turned to leave, Charlotte said one more thing. "Would you stay for a minute?" He turned. "Why?" "I think my life might have just changed," she whispered. And neither of them had any idea just how true that was. Charlotte's voice was steady, but something in her eyes shook, like the panic hadn't fully faded even though her son was safe in her arms. She glanced back at Michael as he adjusted his daughter's weight in his arms. "Please," she said again, "just sit with us for a moment." Michael looked down at Olivia, still half asleep, her thumb nestled in the fold of his hoodie, and then back up at Charlotte. He gave a small nod. They sat in a quieter corner of the lounge area, the one normally reserved for first-class passengers and business elites. Michael felt out of place immediately. Everything around him screamed luxury, while his boots still bore the dried rain and grease of a working single father trying to stay afloat. Charlotte sat across from him, Eli curled up beside her, clinging to her hand like he feared she'd vanish again. "I took a call," she finally said. "Just one call. He was right next to me. I thought." "You don't have to explain," Michael said gently. "I've had those days. You blink, and your kid's halfway across the city." She gave a tight smile. "But you were the one who noticed. Everyone else just walked past him. You didn't." Michael shrugged. "He reminded me of my daughter when she got lost in a hardware store last year. Terrified, clutching a pack of nails like it was a security blanket." That made Charlotte laugh, really laugh, for the first time since the chaos began. And it did something to her expression, softened it, removed the armor of wealth and image. "I'm not usually like this," she said. "I'm on top of things." Michael gave her a look. "You're a mom. That's all you need to be right now." The assistant approached then, murmured something in her ear, and Charlotte turned to Michael again. "Listen, I need to catch a flight, but I'd really like to do something to thank you. You didn't hesitate. You took care of my son when no one else did." Michael shook his head. "You don't need to." "Please," she cut in. "At least let me give you a ride home. Or a hotel for the night. Something." Michael hesitated. Charlotte looked at Olivia. "Is she warm enough?" Michael swallowed. He didn't like asking for help. Not from strangers. Especially not from billionaires in $1,000 dresses and heels that probably cost more than his entire monthly income. But Olivia coughed softly in her sleep, and the chill from earlier still clung to her damp curls. He nodded. A ride would be helpful. The ride wasn't just any ride. It was a black Escalade with tinted windows, plush leather seats, and hot cocoa handed to Olivia the moment she woke up by a driver who somehow knew her name already. Michael couldn't stop watching Charlotte, who had opted to sit up front rather than treat it like a limo experience. She kept checking her phone, clearly torn between business chaos and motherly guilt. As the vehicle pulled into his neighborhood, a modest street lined with brick townhouses and cracked sidewalks, Charlotte leaned over. "This your place?" Michael nodded. "Top floor. Small but warm." Charlotte opened her purse, pulled out a sleek silver card, and held it out. "Michael, I know you probably get offered help a lot and turn it down, but I don't make offers I don't mean." He glanced at the card. It just said, "Winslow Holdings. Direct contact. Charlotte Winslow. No phone number. No flashy titles. Just power and simplicity." "I don't know what I'd even use this for," he said. "Maybe nothing," she replied. "But if you ever need a hand, use it. You didn't ask for anything today, but you did more than anyone else would have." He took the card, tucked it into his jacket. "Thanks. For the ride." Charlotte smiled as Olivia waved sleepily. "Your daughter's lucky." Michael met her eyes. "So is your son." Then the Escalade rolled away, Charlotte's face vanishing behind tinted glass, and Michael was left on the curb, holding his sleeping child and wondering why his heart felt like it had just been kicked into motion. He had no idea that within days, Charlotte would show up again. But this time, not because he helped her. This time, she would be the one saving him. It had only been 3 days. 3 normal, quiet days. Michael had fallen back into his usual rhythm. Early morning coffee, fixing HVAC units in drafty buildings, making mac and cheese with Olivia while watching cartoons she barely understood but loved anyway. The world hadn't changed, except inside him. Something about Charlotte's gaze, her softness in that moment, how someone so powerful could seem so human, lingered in the back of his mind. He hadn't used the card, hadn't even looked at it again, until Tuesday afternoon, when the knock came. He opened the door and froze. There she was, Charlotte Winslow, billionaire, mogul, and mystery, standing in his hallway, holding a bouquet of sunflowers and a brown paper bag of groceries. Dressed not in designer wear, but jeans and a gray hoodie. She looked like a regular person. "Hope you like pasta," she said with a shy smile. Michael blinked. "How did you?" She lifted one brow. "Billionaire, remember? I have a lot of people. And your address was in the back seat log." He stepped aside, heart thudding in his chest. Charlotte walked into his small kitchen, looked around, and said, "This place, it's lived in." That's a compliment, by the way. He watched her place the groceries down and start pulling things out. Pasta, sauce, garlic bread, even a bottle of orange soda. You cook? He asked. She grinned. Only when I want to impress someone. Michael leaned against the wall, unsure what was happening. You're here because of what happened at the airport. Charlotte turned slowly, her expression more serious now. No, I'm here because of everything after. He frowned. My son hasn't stopped talking about you. But more than that, she hesitated, choosing her words. I looked you up. Of course you did. Charlotte Winslow didn't do random. I saw your background, she continued. Veteran. Single dad. Caretaker to your mom for 6 years until she passed. Multiple side jobs. Never late on a payment, even when you were living off peanut butter sandwiches and freelance repairs. Michael's jaw clenched slightly. You ran a background check on me. Not because I was suspicious, she said quickly. Because I was impressed. That stunned him more than anything else. Charlotte set the groceries aside and stepped closer. You're exactly the kind of person I've been looking for. I don't just run investment firms. I run a program, Silent Strength, for dads who go unnoticed. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to find someone genuine. Michael blinked, completely thrown. You want me to work for you? She shook her head. No, I want to back you. Fund you. Help you build something of your own. HVAC company. Mechanic business. Anything. He stared at her. Why? Charlotte's eyes didn't flinch. Because when everyone else kept walking, you stayed. You made my son feel safe. You made me feel safe. Silence sat between them for a long, loaded moment. Then Olivia walked in, rubbing her eyes, and Charlotte instantly knelt to her level with a warm smile. Hey, sweetheart, she whispered. Still like hot cocoa? Olivia nodded shyly. Michael looked at the two of them and felt something shift in his chest. An invisible wall cracking. He wanted to say yes. He wanted to believe this was real. But life had taught him that people, especially powerful people, don't show up for nothing. So he asked the question that had been on his mind since she walked in. What's the catch? Charlotte stood, her gaze never wavering. The only catch. You believe in yourself the way Eli believed in you that day. Michael swallowed hard, because he wasn't used to being seen, and certainly not like this. Later that night, after Charlotte left, Michael sat at the table, the silver card now joined by a folder she'd handed him. Inside, contracts, business plans, letters of recommendation already drafted, a grant pre-approved. She hadn't offered him a job. She'd handed him a new life. He stared at the folder for a long time. And finally, he smiled. The kind of smile that only comes when someone gives you back your dignity without asking for anything in return. 3 days passed again. Michael hadn't signed the paperwork yet. He wanted to. He truly did. But a small, stubborn part of him still whispered, people like you don't belong in her world. Then came the envelope. It arrived late morning. No courier. No driver. Just a small white envelope slid under his door while Olivia colored dinosaurs on the floor. Michael picked it up, cautious. His name was handwritten in deep blue ink. Inside was a single invitation card. Winslow Foundation Annual Gala. 7 p.m. Friday, Boston Harbor Grand Ballroom. Dress code. Formal. You're not a guest. You're the man they'll want to meet. See? He stared at it, heart pounding. Formal? He barely owned a decent shirt. But Olivia beamed. Are we going, Daddy? Michael looked down at her. You wanna? She nodded wide-eyed. Do they have cake? He smiled softly. Then we're going. Friday night came faster than expected. Michael stood in front of the mirror wearing a borrowed suit from his neighbor, the sleeves slightly tight. Olivia had on a sparkling navy blue dress Charlotte had sent earlier in a gift box, with matching shoes and a note that said, "Every princess needs to twirl." When they stepped into the ballroom, it was like walking into another universe. Crystal chandeliers, golden decor, people in gowns and tuxedos, live string quartet playing something elegant he didn't recognize. People stared, not in a mocking way, but curious, intrigued. Then Charlotte appeared at the top of the staircase. She looked like every spotlight was made for her, dressed in a black silk gown with silver detailing, her hair down in soft waves, confidence pouring from her like warmth. But the moment her eyes found Michael and Olivia, her face lit up with something real. She came straight to them, ignoring the whispers. You made it, she said. Michael chuckled, nervous. Still not sure I belong. Charlotte stepped closer. You belong more than anyone here. And tonight, I'm going to prove it. Before he could respond, she turned to the mic stand at the front of the ballroom. Good evening, she said, her voice smooth, commanding. Tonight isn't about wealth. It's about character, kindness, and second chances. She turned toward Michael. Tonight, I want to introduce someone who doesn't know the impact he had on my life and my son's. The room followed her gaze. Michael froze. People turned, looked, watched. Charlotte smiled. This is Michael Sanders, a man who didn't know who I was, but still chose to care, who didn't walk away, even when no one else saw what he did. Michael felt his breath catch. Charlotte's voice softened. He reminded me that strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's showing up. And I want the world to know I'm investing in him, not just his business, his future, because the world needs more Michaels. Silence. Then applause. Real. Loud. Emotional. And just like that, the man who once felt invisible became the center of a room filled with power, respect, and something he hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. The applause had faded. The night carried on like a dream. Handshakes, business cards, people introducing themselves to him, asking about his plans. Olivia danced with other kids near the dessert table, face glowing with joy. But Michael couldn't shake the unease beneath it all. It didn't feel fake. Charlotte wasn't fake. But something about how people looked at her, like they knew something he didn't. She found him again later, out on the balcony, away from the noise. The harbor breeze tugged gently at her dress. You okay? She asked, stepping beside him. He looked out over the water. You're good at this, you know. At what? Making people feel like they matter. She smiled softly. Because you do. He paused. Then tell me why you really came back. Charlotte's smile faltered, just for a second. And that was all he needed. She sighed, folding her arms. I wasn't lying, Michael. I meant every word. But there is one thing I haven't told you. He stayed quiet. Charlotte looked down. There's a man. His name's Grant Lively. He used to be my head of security and Eli's godfather. He went rogue a year ago. Disappeared with sensitive company data. And recently, he sent a message to my office. Michael tensed. What kind of message? Charlotte met his eyes. He said he knows where I am, and he threatened my son. The air grew cold. I've tightened security. The gala tonight had layers of protection. But still, I've been on edge ever since. Michael processed her words. So, you came to me because... No, she cut in quickly. I came to you because Eli trusted you. And I saw in you the kind of safety I haven't felt in a long time. But yes, part of me hoped maybe you could help. Michael swallowed. I'm not a bodyguard. I'm not a soldier anymore. Charlotte nodded. I know, but you're the only man I trust right now. Not because of your skills, but because of your heart. Silence fell between them again. Then, in a softer voice, she added, I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Michael looked at her, really looked, and saw the fear behind her composure. Not fear of danger, but fear of losing control, losing her son. He took a breath. If you want me to protect him, I will, he said. Her eyes filled. Even after everything. Michael nodded. Not because you're a billionaire, but because he's a kid. And because you didn't walk away either. Charlotte reached for his hand. And for the first time, it wasn't about gratitude or guilt or obligation. It was about something real. Something just beginning.